today, this is your King Life. It's Valentine EX Turk. I'm gonna go ahead and cover another Final Fantasy topic, another that within the realm of possibility. Now, I know it's maybe a sequel is not gonna happen, and you know what? I can accept that. But no one ever said anything about a prequel. And why I think it's possible for a prequel for Final Fantasy 15 is I think it's going to be possible for a Final Fantasy 15 Zero. Now, I know it sounds crazy. It sounds like I've lost my damn mind. But listen to me when I gotta say this. I think it's in the realm of possibility because, I mean, I already know that we got the prequel Kingsglaive. You know, I already know we got some of the story and stuff like that. And we got a King's Tale. But I think it would do more justice if we got a Final Fantasy 15 Chapter 0. A game, not a DLC, a game. Now, why would I want this exactly? I think it's possible for this to actually happen. Now, we can go expand upon what a King's Tale didn't, King Regis' story. Maybe this could include a whole bunch of stories. Maybe we can get some flashback cutscenes of young Arden growing up and then having a brotherhood, being ostracized when he was deemed too impure for the crystal. His jealousy toward his older brother Zunia for taking everything, and his betrayal by the woman he was once with. Hence why he killed Lunafreya, because Lunafreya reminds him about the woman that betrayed him. We could have so many things. Gentiana, Gentiana saving Shiva's life and inserting Shiva in her to save Shiva's life. How the Empire killed the other 6 Astrals. How the wars between Niflheim and Insomnia started. There could be so much backstory. And individual chapters that aren't, you don't even have to put patches on this. Because this will lead up to the original game. Such as the incident with young Noctis, and probably put in the Platinum demo as part of the story. And everything. And also the battle, even though they had this in Brotherhood, it could be possible to see young King Regis versus Merilith. We can have that battle in Final Fantasy 15 Chapter 0. And, this will be on everybody's story. This also would go on how Ravis trained to become the High Commander of the Niflheim Empire. And everything. And how Verstel planned things out alongside Arden. But it also would go back into Arden's thing. And the reason why Arden had Prompto see his father and stuff like that, he wanted to test the Brotherhood to see if they would betray Prompto for the fact that Prompto is an MT. And, well, Arden was found out wrong. So, but, which will go back to his backstory. So we can see Arden's backstory. Because Arden became one of the greatest Final Fantasy villains of all time. I don't care what you say. Yeah, sure, his boss battle was weak and he was bitch made in the... But then again, they gave Noctis a huge buff. They increased Noctis' strength tenfold. And they did with the summons, but the summons were at least... The Astrals were at least hard. Leviathan was hard, Ifrit was hard. But, But this will make Arden a much better villain, because now we get to see everything and why Arden did what he did completely. Because this chapter, Final Fantasy 15, Chapter 0, will explain things will happen in Arden's past. The Niflheim Empire killing the other 6 Astrals. Younger Ravis entering into the High Commander position of the Niflheim Empire. Young Noctis. Young Regis' story. And with young Regis' Brotherhood. Claris, Cid. Websker. I think it's Websker, not Wesker. Don't mistake it for Web. You don't mistake him for Wesker off of Resident Evil. Websker. You know, the black guy with the cornrows, that Alticia that looks like an older version of Barrett, a much more gentleman version of Barrett. I just had to put it there. But no, this would explain questions, you know. Things that happened in Tenebrae, General Glocka's creation, and how General Glocka was able to spy on Insomnia. Now, this would have most of a Versus 13 outlook, I'd have to say, because most of the events will start taking place in Insomnia. And we would be able to actually see the expanded Insomnia. Because this is not a DLC. This is a full game. And you see in Kingsglaive how big Insomnia was? Insomnia was pretty much Academia from Final Fantasy 13 2, but 10 times more. Insomnia was the size of Cealum combined with Alticia, combined with so much, and maybe we could add Alticia. Maybe we could add Alticia. The only areas that are accessible to the player would be Alticia and Insomnia, because this will be, you know, begin everything. This will begin everything. Also, we get to probably see some cutscenes. Maybe the chapter 0 will have King Regis go take a gander to the Piteos ruins. And then once we go to the Piteos ruins and King Regis interacts with the statues, he'd be able to see everything Ifrit has gone through. So we probably have some backstory on Ifrit as well. You know, because most of this chapter 0 would take place with young Regis. I mean, don't get me wrong, King's Tale was fun, and it was a fun arcade game, but we didn't get very much backstory. You just seen him fight monsters and fight Ultras, and that's it, and have interact with the characters. You know, maybe chapter 0 will be a full Regis game that has everybody else's backstories in it. You know, the main characters would be Arden to begin with. You know, it'd have at least let's see, half an hour of Arden's story. Then it'd go to King Regis' side of stuff, you know, and then it would go to young Ravis's you know, story mode until he becomes the High Commander of the Niflheim Empire, which would be all 30 minutes, and then the last will be young Noctis and everything and all young Noctis' adventures. But I think the Regis would at least be about, let's see, 2 hours, I'd have to say. Yeah, because, I mean, with that, you know, the last mission for King Regis would be to go into the Piteos ruins. And there's a way to get there without needing a flying car. Or maybe Sid creates a flying car at the time. Go into the Piteos ruins. And maybe we could get some backstory on Cindy as well. We could see what happened to make Cindy into the strong mechanic she is. Also past with Aranea. Maybe King Regis, since Aranea's age 30, it could be possible a younger Aranea could have ran into King Regis before she was recruited by the Niflheim Empire. You know, maybe King Regis saves Aranea. And hence why there's a life debt between the Orbanbrais and the Lucius Cealums. Because maybe Esma adopted Aranea. Again, I think there's a huge connection between Aranea and Esma. So I'm just saying, there's so many possibilities. Plus, a game where you can see the full size Insomnia before it gets destroyed. You know, before Kingsglaive. And maybe the last part of the game after you defeat Noctis' chapter, Final Fantasy 15 Final Fantasy 15 Chapter 0. Final Fantasy 15 Chapter 0 would have not only a full thing of Insomnia, but also after you beat young Noctis' stuff, little Noctis' stuff, maybe it'll lead into Kingsglaive. You know, there'll be some suspicion. And then before some council meetings and stuff like that, the Niflheim Empire will start attacking territories, which will catch Insomnia's thing. And maybe we could also have a little extra content where the end of the game is exactly the beginning of Kingsglaive. You know, where the Kingsglaive guards take on I think I can't remember which weapon it was, but I think it was maybe it was Diamond Weapon. I gotta go back and watch Kingsglaive again. But maybe the end of the game could be the beginning of Kingsglaive. But I think this is a good idea and opportunity to sell out Final Fantasy 15 before Final Fantasy 15 is over. Maybe after episode Ignis. Because, I mean, they want to make this game longer. Yeah, it's gonna be a different game, but I think it's perfect for a prequel. A sequel could never happen, you know. But this could bring so much backstory to so many characters and put it in there. You know, now I know it's gonna be expensive because it'd be just like Final Fantasy 15 graphics wise. Because I mean, no offense, I love Final Fantasy 7 before Crisis, but with just texting and just cell phone graphics, flash animated characters isn't just gonna do me any well. I think, because I mean, this could be like the Crisis core. And maybe we can get some episode core in this, where he faces off Gilgamesh. But maybe it's possible we could get, this will be the Crisis core of Final Fantasy 15. This will be leading up to the events of Kingsglaive. But I think, I like games like Crisis Core when it comes to prequels, or Final Fantasy Type 0. Because it builds up into the next arc really well. And it has the same gameplay, so you actually get immersed in this. Final Fantasy 15 still was a good game, despite how many cuts it has, because people felt immersed with the action-based combat, the good graphics, the voice acting on par. Maybe we should do that with Chapter 0 instead of making a mobile game. Just saying. Because I'm getting tired of Final Fantasy mobile games, quite frankly. That's just my opinion on that. I'm a huge fan of Final Fantasy, but I have to rip apart the mobile games. I have to rip them apart. I hate to do that. I hate attacking what I love, but I just gotta rip it apart because they do too much of it. Now, again, like I said, this would bring opportunity to any kind of gameplay, And maybe maybe to please the old heads of Final Fantasy, maybe they can make this turn-based, because maybe this will be for only Final Fantasy 15 fans or classic Final Fantasy fans. But who knows? I think this game, if it took place in Insomnia, this would take up the whole game. Then you have the cutscenes of Arden, young Aranea, young Noctis, young Ravis, young Core. That would take up the entire game. And then make the ending the beginning of Kingsglaive. That way, if you got Final Fantasy 15, Chapter 0, then you watch Kingsglaive, then you play Final Fantasy 15, then you actually, before that, you watch the anime Final Fantasy 15 Brotherhood. Hopefully they come up with an English dub of that. And then after you finish Brotherhood, then you play Final Fantasy 15. And then you play A King's Tale to take a break. And then you have and then if you want to play extra stuff, you can play episode Gladiolus, Prompto, Ignis, as well as play the Platinum demo. And if you pre-ordered Final Fantasy Type 0 and you have the demo from that episode Ducade, play that as well. You would have the complete saga of Final Fantasy 15, man. You would have the complete Final Fantasy 15, the complete collection of Final Fantasy 15, the complete collection, before the deluxe version of Final Fantasy 15 with all the DLC in it. This will be a good cash grab, so they could put into the Final Fantasy 7 remake, Kingdom Hearts 3, Dissidia Arcade, which I know they're not in order. I'm just saying this could be a perfect opportunity to put cash in it. You want to sell out Final Fantasy 15 and just pretty much merchandise on it. Don't get me wrong, shirts are good too. Shirts are good too. I mean, merch is always good, I actually am craving some Final Fantasy 15 merch. Besides that Hammerhead shirt you see at Target when you pre-order the game, But I think this would put so much backstory. This will get the games sold even more. But that's all I gotta say about that right here is I think Final Fantasy 15 Chapter 0 would be perfect. Tell me what you think in the comments and may the crystal